finally starting with the weekly recaps, starting with a show which I just didn't get to in my first impressions video, and I'm not going back to edit that again. Also, if you're wondering why it's so late, it's because some shows come out later in the week, and I have to wait till they're all done to get this out. On paper, this show sounds really good. A story about a bunch of gods having to learn the fighting skills they lost when the war ended and they didn't need them anymore sounds really, really, really fun, especially when those gods are all brash and crazy and bloodthirsty. I really admire in protagonists, but something is missing. I can't really explain it unless you've actually watched the show, but something about the dialogue feels off. Like, the voice acting is fine, it's really good, the animation is beautiful, the opening is actually pretty decent. It's the dialogue that's just, I don't know, something about it is wrong. I might give it another episode to see if I can figure it out, but after that, I'm probably going to drop this show. Okay, so remember when I said how this show was taking old episodes and rehashing them? Well, that's kind of true. They're not rehashing arcs from the first series. They're actually taking arcs from Higurashi Go and flipping them on their head to show them from another perspective. That sounds like a really cool idea. The problem is that they're not really doing anything interesting with them. Like, it's just the same events flipped around. I know they added Rina's death, but honestly, that part of the arc just didn't actually add anything. Not anything. It's the same story, but from Rena's perspective. And now it's going to be the same arc from Mion's perspective. It's really annoying, too, because I was really hoping this arc would do something different. Like maybe do that original arc where she takes Shion's place, takes her place from her perspective. That would be cool. But no, it's the same arcs from Go, just flipped around. To tell you the truth, I don't actually hate this arc. I think it's kind of neat, and it's probably one of my favorite arcs, only because it presents things from an interesting perspective. So, Mion isn't doing any of this out of craziness. She's doing out of this out of sheer concern, and that's actually kind of cool. But it's the same arc. It's the same exact arc. I had such high hopes for this series. Is it just me, or is Sophie showing some kind of subconscious bitterness in this episode? Like, she cast Katarina in a play, but her part is the wicked stepsister. Is that how Sophie sees her? Does she still see her as evil and is not really aware of it? Or maybe she is aware of it and is trying to make passive-aggressive digs at Katarina. I actually really dig this, and it's really funny. Especially since nobody in this play seems to be able to act, and her own fiancé gets pushed aside for another man. Also, that ending tells me that something's about to go down. But that's for next time. Not gonna lie, the idea of an amusement park on top of a demon prison where the demon's negative energy runs it is actually kind of a neat idea. Especially since one of those demons is a sadist and who will suck up all the negative energy like a sponge. Actually, he's the only reason I have any interest in this show to begin with, so I look forward to seeing whatever he and the other demons are plotting out. I just really don't care about the main characters. They're not interesting, and Yurima's kind of cute, but he's just not entertaining. The demons are entertaining, though. Please let us see more of the demons. This week we learn about the girl, and she can quadruple her strength. And that's it. When you make a death game, you might want to come up with better powers than making the character extremely strong. Like being able to set stuff on fire, or making any weapon you want, or being able to shift reality. But no, it's quadrupled strength. That's it. Also, she has a stereotypical backstory about an abusive parent and an enabler parent, and Honestly, it's kind of disappointing. I keep hoping this show will do something spectacular, but so far it's just been really, really, really generic. Although they may or may not be getting their energy sources from people dying, like the main character is told at one point that it's possible that every time he uses their powers, someone somewhere dies. So that might actually add a little bit of a wrinkle onto this story, because then they'd have to actually think about whether to use their powers or not. But then again, the mascot character says that she was kidding, so Oh. I really wish Sarasa were the main character. She's actually kind of compelling. Her wanting to stand up and prove herself to the people who say you're not good enough is actually really neat. And by the end of the episode, you feel bad for her with all these people making all these horrible comments at her. Also, she's adorable and fun, and she actually has a personality unlike the main character. But no, we're stuck with Ai, who up to this point hasn't actually had any character development. In fact, I don't really know anything about her. So is Sarsa actually the main character, but our focal point is currently on Ai? We keep cutting to the academy and the staff, who keep making comments about how great the group of kids are this year. That's not very compelling. Honestly, Sarsa is the only thing that keeps me watching this series. I like her. She's cute. To tell you the truth, I kind of admire Kokoru's goal to save the aquarium, but I'm not really sure it's enough to sustain an entire series. Like, this show's gonna have to do more than one thing in order to make me interested, and so far, it's really not. I keep watching, hoping they'll do something with the other girl, but I know we're on episode 2. I'm just not very hopeful. Yeah, I knew it. The show's just gonna be the main character collecting girls like Pokemon cards, and they're going to come from mythical creatures. Ugh, it's just sad because I really, really, really wanted to like this show, but this is just so generic and so cliche. And come on, show, please do something different with your plot. Please do not have every episode to be the same thing. But we know it is, so I'm resigned to the fact that after episode 4, I'm probably going to drop it. This week, our protagonist teaches a bunch of ants about workers' rights. But wait, aren't ants drones? Is that an indictment about corporate America? 'Cause it kind of feels like it is. Anyway, our hero, okay, he's not a hero, but still, is one step closer to creating his own dungeon company, who he will probably drive just as hard as the previous ant boss, but we'll get to that when it comes. It is kind of neat that they have to make their own currency, because as anything that they try and pick up burns if they don't buy it. But in a survivalist series, I'm pretty sure economy is the last thing you want to think of. You want to see them all fight each other, and one person tries to take over, and they all end up bloodied and massacred. That's what you care about in this kind of series. You don't care how they spend money. Also, the protagonist still has no personality, and I do not even know his name. I have no idea what the fuck is going on in this show. I'm kind of interested to see why the one boy pretty much fell into a trance and went crazy, but this seems like it's going to be one of those shows where they're going to force you to either play the game or read supplementary material to find out what's going on. And spoiler alert, I did actually look up what's going on, and I still have no idea what's going on because it's extremely confusing and convoluted, and I don't get it. I kind of hope the show does a better job explaining it, but I highly doubt it. This series does a slightly better job explaining its plot than Scarlet Nexus. It's actually kind of coherent. Like, it's clear that psychics are treated like trash and that no matter what happens, you have to hide from the police because if you're a psychic, they'll pretty much kill you. I'm actually interested to know why. I have a feeling it's going to be stupid, but I actually feel bad for the brothers, and I want to know the answer. This week, we learned that the grimoire might be able to create curse bearers, i.e., the vampires whose names have been corrupted, and our heroes are sent to retrieve a curse bearer in Paris. You know, if this series turns into a weekly adventure where every week the main characters have to go and find a curse bearer, that would actually be kind of cool. We are introduced to a bunch of other characters who I don't really know, and I think they think that the grimoire did something or somewhere, or they want the grimoire for some reason. I actually can't remember what it is, although there was a reason given. This show is starting to become tedious. So I decided to give this show one more episode out of curiosity. This week we meet the Duke's sister, who is 10, and she has a crush on his butler, who's in his 60s. And, ew, just, ew. You know, watching a little girl turn red in the face and spurt blood out of her nose over an older man is not actually endearing or charming. It's really creepy and really just... That's it for this show. You know, it's really nice to see the main character actually age instead of being stuck as an 8-year-old for like 16 episodes. Granted, it's mostly him muddling around the academy and learning about magic and the basic stuff, but it's actually not that bad, especially since the art is really pretty and the characters are kind of endearing. I don't exactly think I'm having a lot of fun with this show, but compared to the other shows in the genre, it's actually much better. This week, our heroes play a baseball duel, which is not as interesting as it sounds. I care more about the villains in the background and what they're plotting. It's clear they're harvesting cards and replicating them for some reason, and honestly, it's just refreshing to actually see a villain. Like, a villain who does something. Nail had no purpose. He didn't actually move the plot forward or do anything as far as I can tell. And it feels like these villains actually try. Like, I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something. And it's kind of a miracle. If only the series could get to the point already. So initially I thought this show was going to be a case of meeting a girl who looked exactly like Siesta, but no. This girl has Siesta's heart inside of her. Like, Diabolic Lovers literally has her heart inside of her. Why? It's weird. But it might actually make for some interesting character development, especially if Siesta decides to take over her body and solve cases. That would actually be really cool. It looks like we're going to meet clients in this show. Because the girl at the end clearly has something she wants them to do, so maybe something's gonna happen? We'll see. So remember all that praise I gave the show about killing off the people who turned into monsters, and that it's refreshing to see that the main character can't talk them back into being human? Well, the series decided to ruin that, because apparently now he can just say, "You're better than this," and the person just magically fights against whatever is making them a monster and turns back into a person. Also, fuck this show for pushing the "you're better than this, don't kill the person who abused you" bullshit. He was literally abusing her mother to the point that her mother was going to have a nervous breakdown. I'm sorry, but she had every right to crush him into an accordion. And you cannot talk her out of it. Although it is nice to see her stand up to him at the end. I keep saying her because I don't actually know her name. I think they mentioned it once. Anyway, that's a bad sign in this show when I can't even remember the characters' names. People audition their skills to help with the war, and Kazuya takes an aptitude test. This show is really boring. Starting at the end of next week, I'm going to be on vacation at the beach into the following week, and at the end of that week, I'm going to be at Otakon. So my video should be a little bit skewed. Probably next week's video is going to be sometime in the middle of the week, and Otakon's video is going to be the weekend after that, which might mean that video has to be a double. I don't know if it's going to be 2 videos back to back or one long video with 2 episodes each. I'll figure that out when I get to it.